Today, Mama Hoss are talking about turmeric on the show, why you should be growing it, how to grow it. Also, we're going to be talking about what you need to be doing during March. Well, what do you think of our new little setup here?
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. So we got a new setup here. We changed things around a little bit. So
His idea.
my idea, of course, it had to be my idea. Make it a little more comfortable.
Usually I'm the one rearranging furniture,
Yeah.
but you've decided you want to do something a little different.
I did. So we'll see how it works out. We can always change back later, but I kind of like it's a little more comfortable, a little more conversational.
A little more cozy. A little more cozy.
So today we're talking about turmeric.
How do you pronounce that?
I say turmeric.
Is it turmeric or turmeric?
I say turmeric. That's the way I've heard it pronounced.
You can pronounce it either way. T-O-O, turmeric, or T-U-R, turmeric.
Okay.
But either way.
And we're enjoying in the spirit of the turmeric today, we're enjoying our tea here.
Yeah, that's some fresh ginger, fresh turmeric, some roselle, and honey.
Before we get into the turmeric, I got to go knife of the week here, and this is a sad one today. This is a sad one, folks. Here.
Hold it out.
All right. Old Hickory right here, and this is a small little knife right here that Old Hickory made, and they made a little nice sheath with it. But you probably recognize Old Hickory as kitchen knives. Well, Old Hickory made a lot of different knives, and I say made a lot of different knives because Old Hickory's gone. They have went out of business, so if you see any Old Hickory knives out there, you might want to snatch them up because no more is going to be made. They're all sold out. They had some excess inventory. I think they sold out to maybe Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and they may have some inventory. Brings back a lot of memories. My mother had a kitchen butcher knife of Old Hickory that she used for years and years and years. It was her go-to knife. But we used to sell the Old Hickory cabbage knives and things like that. But I just thought I'd show you that day and give you some news about the Old Hickory brand that's going to be gone. A lot of tradition left in that brand right there. A lot of households in America in the early 1900s used the Old Hickory brand. So I got that one there I want to keep. It really, they're USA made knives, but they're economical, $10.95 blade, good little knives. But if you can snatch you one up, you may want to get you one just for memory's sake there, if you like I am. Also, we have got sweet potato slips for sale, folks. Pre-order, we're going to start shipping them, I think, sometime in, when is it, April?
No.
Anyway, it won't be long, before long. We will ship these sweet potato slips to you when you need them. So we won't start shipping them before you can plant them in your area, and it'll be staged out. Of course, Florida and Georgia gets theirs first, and it kind of goes from there up. Sweet potatoes love the heat. Don't plant them too early. When you get your sweet potato plants, if you pre-order, it'll be time to plant them. So don't fret with that right there. Tomato and pepper plugs. Next week, we hope to have tomato and pepper plugs for the next 4 to 5 to 6 weeks. So that's be exciting. We sold them last year and we're bringing them back this year. We're not selling brassicas this year, but we're selling 4 different pepper plants and 4 different types of tomato plants. So just to give you an idea of the tomato plants we're going to have available, it's going to be Shelby, which is a great sauce tomato. We got Better Boy, which is a good indeterminate. And then we got Red Snapper, which is a determinate, and we got the famous Halcinator. So we got 4 different kind of tomato plants. Pepper plants, we got banana, we got poblano, we got habanero, and we've got bell pepper. So we should have you covered there on your pepper plants and your tomato plants. Back to turmeric.
Turmeric. Something new we tried last year.
It was.
It's a perennial, same family as ginger. Why do you think it's important to grow?
Well, it's fun to grow to start with, but one of the things I didn't realize is that a lot of the turmeric is brought in this country from India. So if you go to the grocery store and buy your turmeric powder, most of that is brought in from India. And there's been some research done talking about the heavy metals, especially lead, found in the turmeric powder. So just to make sure that you're getting good, healthy turmeric, which has a lot of benefits to it, you can grow your own.
Benefits, anti-inflammatory, I think is one of the biggest benefits. I take it, I have osteoarthritis in one of my legs, especially my foot. And if I miss 2 days taking it, I can barely get out of the bed in the morning and walk. I am a believer in it.
So how do you consume it besides in the tea?
Well, I've been buying capsules for it, but this year I grew my own. And once it's harvested, you just simply scrape off the outer layer and slice it up, and I put it in my freeze dryer and let it run a cycle. And I'm going to go turmeric for a while. Now I'm going to put some of this in capsules, and so I don't have to buy. But you can, the healthiest part of turmeric is when you cook with it. Like in Asians food, Thai foods, that kind of foods, you get the most health benefit out of it. But who's going to eat that much Thai food in a week?
So you don't consume enough to get the health benefits, so therefore take the
You take the supplements. It's been used in Asia for hundreds of years in cooking. Things like curry has it in it, mustard has it in it, or anything you want to add a different color to your cooking, you use it. Instead of using food coloring,
So mustard has
turmeric in it.
mustard greens that we eat out of the garden.
Not mustard greens, mustard like you put on a hot dog.
Oh.
Greg. Oh, it's also good in chicken soup.
Okay, so you talking about mustard you slather on a sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yellow.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mustard.
Yellow mustard makes sense. All right, so how do you grow your turmeric? Well, folks, let's get out here, and I got some right here, and let's get into how do you grow
And this is, we want to emphasize USDA grown.
USDA organically grown.
Organically grown.
So you see here, folks, this is what represents 1 pound of turmeric right here. And as you see these bigger ones right here, these are what we consider mothers. And there's some of the smaller ones in there that'll be considered daughters right there. Or fingers, either one. Either one of these, whoop, I just dropped one.
That's all right.
Either one of these is fine to plant. It doesn't make any difference right there whether it's the mother or the daughter right there. But you don't want to cut these up, you want to plant the whole bulb here. And we got these for pre-sale, and we're going to start shipping this turmeric out about the 15th of March, and we will have it on hand for probably the next 30, 45 days as long as supplies last. So when you plant this right here, you want to plant it just like you would maybe any other vegetable. Normally spacing on row spacings 3 to 4 foot apart. You want to plant this 12 to 18 inches apart in row. Now if you're using drip tape, it'd be ideal to plant on 12-inch in row spacings right there. Plant it 3 to 4 inches deep. Now turmeric is kind of a tropical type plant, so it loves the warmer weather. So we normally would plant this in the springtime, grow it all summer long, and you would harvest it late fall according to where you live at. So if you're in the deep south like Florida or southern Louisiana or southern Texas, you could probably hold off to harvest this probably January. But if you live on up in our neck of the woods in southern Georgia, you probably want to harvest in about November when the plants die back down. If the ground freezes, that's where you run into some problems at, and you could lose your turmeric that's in the ground. So you definitely don't want to wait, till your ground freezes. So that's pretty much when you plant and when you harvest this right here. Now there is some caveats to growing turmeric. Turmeric does not like full sun, it likes a little bit of shade. And Mama Hoss will share with you in a minute her experience in growing it last year. But I'm gonna say about 70% sunlight is ideal. It can probably grow in as much as 50% shade. So if you got that place in your garden that gets a little shade, maybe you had some ornamentals there, it'd be an ideal place to plant turmeric. Turmeric's not really considered a heavy feeder. It likes a decent amount of fertilizer. If you want to grow organically, I would consider using a manure or our complete organic to, mix into your soil and plant it. One of the problems with turmeric is root knot nematodes. So you definitely don't want to plant turmeric where you had peppers, where you had tomatoes, or especially where you had okra. Virgin soils would be ideal to plant your turmeric in, something nothing has been planted there in a while. And it's fairly easy to grow. You grew it last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you don't have a space or you're in an area that it might be too cold to grow outside, your space is frozen, think about growing it in a container, in a root pouch, a 15 or 45 gallon root pouch. And these have the handles on it, so you can easily bring it inside if it gets too cold. Even if it was to get too hot, you can move it to a different shadier location. So we recommend, and especially if you're just starting out, get you a 45-pound root pouch and plant it in that the first time you try it.
All right, so let's talk about how much you would get in a pound. Let's count them out right here. And I weighed this out this morning to make sure we had a pound to let everybody know how many plants you would get out of the pound here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we got 3 small ones that are out there, but don't let that stress you out a whole lot. So we got 15.
You wouldn't cut
Nope.
that off?
Nope, I wouldn't. When we get this turmeric in, I talked to Brian, our farmer, yesterday about that. He said, when you get it in, you want to sell it exactly as he said, what is to be broken off, we will do it before you get it. So he said, tell the people not to cut it, not to break off, to plant exactly what you get right there. They'll have it all the way separated so when you get it. So for a pound, you got 15 different plants. And I think we sell this for less than $20, isn't it? Somewhere there, a pound. So that gives you an idea of how much turmeric you're going to get in a pound. I think a container is a great way to start out because, like you said, you can move it accordingly to how much shade it needs.
Yeah. Let's talk about harvesting it. Like I say, it grows 9 to 10 months.
According to where you're at.
According to where you're at. The leaves will start dying back when it's time to harvest, sort of like your garlic and your onions do. Once you harvest it, you want to lay it out just like your onions and your garlic and let it dry out a bit. But once you get it completely dry, you can put it in some freezer bags and store it in the fridge or the freezer for like up to 6 months. You can take it and dehydrate it, or you can do it through the freeze dryer, and that'll last 25 years.
I reckon how many dollars worth of turmeric that is right there?
It's a lot if you bought that in capsules. But now I've got another big half-gallon jar of it too.
Huh.
And the best friend to turmeric is black pepper. Thought we mentioned that a little bit. So just the plain turmeric is not absorbed in your body very well. So if you add something like the black pepper, it helps your body absorb all this goodness of turmeric.
So try something new this year. Turmeric, I tried some ginger last year. I wasn't real successful with it, but it was a thought of mine.
How do you like it in your tea?
I like it. I like it. And turmeric is in the same family as ginger.
Same family.
But turmeric's going to be a little easier to grow than what ginger is. And we're looking at possibly getting some ginger plants in the next year or two.
Yeah.
But you don't do, ginger's not as easy to do as from the bulbs as turmeric is.
Turmeric is really a no-brainer. You planted it and you didn't do anything to it. I didn't fertilize it.
Right.
And we got enough rain, so it was just.
So the yield from one of these bulbs right here is anywhere from a half a pound to a pound. It's according to how well you are at growing it. So you think about this one little bulb right here, or rhizome, you can get anywhere from a half a pound to, if your conditions are really good and you fertilize and take care of your plants well, up to a pound. So when you dig this up, you'll just have a clump of turmeric there. So you could use some of it, break it apart, and then save you from seed stock for next year.
Yeah, I was going to bring that point up. Save you some, just like with your tom onions, your sweet potato slips. Save some for next year.
Yep.
You'll never have to buy it again.
Absolutely. So turmeric USA grown organically, and normally about an inch of water per week is pretty much standard on that right there. All right, so what you got going on? What's going on in your garden? What do we need to be doing now? What are you doing now in the garden? And I'll explain to everybody what my process is at the moment.
I flipped all my beds and I planted our new seed tape, which I've been a little hesitant on that seed tape. It just, to me, looks, now this is going to sound bad, it looks a little cheap. Like you would buy it at Dollar General or something. It just don't look. But I planted it. It planted well. Don't have your hands wet when you're trying to lay it out. And I would say 100% germination.
Yeah, I was a fan because I actually tried it last year. The company sent us some samples and I grew it out last year. So I knew just how easy it was going to be. And for planting raised beds, especially those seeds that are hard.
Yeah, so what I did is I did a double row on each side of my drip tape line of the lettuces and stuff. And it's popping. It's really popping. Got my English peas planted. Garlic and onions. My onions look excellent, don't they, Greg?
They do.
They look better than your onions.
Look, you've outdone me on onions this year for sure.
Still hadn't harvested the carrots. Still got some things to plant, but waiting a little bit.
So the greenhouse is rocking. I got the green. In fact, I'm gonna plant some more in just about an hour. I got a lot more seeds I got out that I'm fixing to plant. Now, one thing I will tell people is we always direct seed our squash and our cucumbers, which I recommend. You can grow them in the greenhouse. I see people who do. I'm convinced you're better off to direct seed those. Squash, and we're talking about summer squash here, is now the time to get those in the ground. Start now if you're in zone 9 like we are. Succession plant up going forward to make sure you got a steady supply of those squash, because we do love our summer squash. Now we get tired of them on into 1st of June. We'll have our belly bait up, but we love those first summer squash come off. So now's the time to get those planted. Middle of the month, this month is March, I will be planting field corn and sweet corn.
So I can plant my summer squash and cucumbers right now?
Yes. Plant your summer squash now. Give it about another week on your cucumbers. Plant your summer squash now, and they'll do fine. About the middle of the month, we'll get our first planting of corn in. We'll wait 14 days and we'll plant our field corn. So I'm gonna plant my sweet corn first, middle of the month, wait 14 days to plant my hickory king that I'm growing this year. And then we go hog wild. I got watermelons in the greenhouse. I got tasty bite cantaloupes that I'm growing for you this year in the greenhouse. Those are up and growing, so we should be able to transplant those into the ground about the 1st of April, which is ideal for us. Now folks, I know okra has always been a big one right here. It's too early to plant your okra. You want to wait till your okra gets,
your soil temperature
gets warmer. Every year we have the problem, people plant okra too soon and they don't get any germination. Wait till at least on up into April to plant your okra. But pretty much everything else we getting in the ground. Roselle we'll wait a little bit on, but everything else is rocking right now. Greenhouse is full. Plant more there. Moving things off the germination mats, trying to get more things on there. Green beans are going to the ground this month. So a lot going on.
Sunflowers.
Sunflowers, our rounds of
Zinnias.
flowers. I'm planting some basil today. Lemon basil and regular large basil. I'm going to plant today. So herbs is coming along.
I got some purple basil. I planted some celery and some dill and some sage.
All right. So that is time to rock and roll, folks, with your garden. If there's anything I can tell you is wait about a week on your cucumbers and wait till April on your okra. I had a brain cramp there. Okra and your sweet potatoes. Folks, don't jump the gun on your sweet potatoes. They need a little. They're in the morning glory family, and they need a little heat, a little love. I probably won't transplant my tomatoes for probably till end of this month, somewhere there. They up and growing well.
How far? They barely up.
No, they up. I can start fertilizing. I'm seeing some true leaves on some of my tomatoes. And once you start hitting them with that fertilizer, once you sit, you can make them rock and roll in, make them grow. All right, so we got garden spotlight of the week. Let's see who we got here.
We've got Daniel Tyler. He is in Zone 8. He's got some Georgia Southern Creole collards. You found me?
I did.
Sapelo, Fedora, Sapphire, onions.
Got that around backwards. Let me get that straightened out right there, okay?
And the collards and onions are from Grow House.
And he's got a greenhouse full of stuff he's growing right there.
In the greenhouse, he's growing pollinators, herbs, eggplant, asparagus, and artichoke. Good looking garden there.
And that's Daniel Tyler, and he is in Growing Zone 8. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing that with us. And we got the old goat, folks. Are they going to be able to find the old goat this week? Well, the old goat's hid, but he's moved around some. So if you find the old goat, put in the comments below, folks, and we will send you a little prize out. Last week's winner for finding the old goat was Linda Edwards. Linda, send us your information to custserve@growhouse.com, and you will get a wonderful pair of Get Dirty socks. Look at that, Linda. You'll be the talk of the town.
Talk of the town.
All right, thank y'all for joining us. We kind of switched up a little bit this week. We're going to see how we like it. And hope you out there and enjoying your garden. Time changes in what, about a week?
This weekend.
This weekend it changes? Wow. So we're going to have a lot more time in the afternoons to get out there and garden. And I'm looking forward to that because I got a lot I need to get done. And the afternoons is the time that I have to spend in the garden. So me and Maggie Jean will get out there and make it happen. Get everything ready. Get that corn planted. I got to get drip tape laid for my corn. I got a lot to do. Add some compost in there. Thank you for joining us. It's time for you to get outside and get dirty.